Good morning. I'm coming in finally after the water's gone back down and all the ice is melted and all the good stuff, and coming in with a bin of beaver traps. Going to tear this place apart, see how many we can get before I have to slow down and put everything up. I've put 24 beaver on the boards while I was off with the high water and the ice, so we'll see what we can catch in the next couple of days. Well, this is what I got. There's the main creek run right there, and these little bitty cut-through beaver ditches dividing the swamp, and the beaver come through here, and yeah, they're just starting to make these fresher castor mounds. With all the rain we've had lately, all this sign is super fresh. I'm gonna have to put in a set here. I did not make it far from the truck, and I'm gonna be putting in the first set here. Talked to the landowner already. He said duck season ended yesterday, so the duck hunters, I'm out of their way, and now I'm going to commence to just rounding the beaver up. And yeah, I'm going to put this set in right here. I have excavated a bed right here. What vegetation mud I pulled out of there, I created a mound. I'm going to take some of my Alpha Delta, put on it, but the right there is going to be a no BS beaver extreme that I'm going to put right here in this bed that I have dug. Squish it down into the mud good, and this one will make a catch. There's no doubt about that to me. But I'm going to get this set finished. I've already got the cable in. And I'm using one of the drivers from Hammer Trapline, or the Hammer's Trapline products. Custom made, heat treated. I have beat the stuffing out of this thing, and I haven't even put so much as a dent in it. So that's a great driver. I'm gonna get this set finished, put my lure on top, run the cable out into deep water on the EMT tubing, and move on down. This set right here is gonna work. Kind of love a castor mound like this where they're just boldly marking. This is like a territorial marker that I'm looking for. I know I've got other castor mounds up here we'll look at in a minute. I can tell from the sign this beaver's coming in from the backside, coming up in here, pushing mud up on his mound. And all this is fresh. I'm going to excavate right here, put in another trap, because this is the way he's coming in to approach his mound and put his mud up here. I'm gonna bed the trap, put my lure up here to get his attention, and run the cable out in the deep water for a drowning set. But with the activity I'm seeing around here, this is a very target-rich environment right now. I'll get this set put in. We'll take a look at it in a minute. I have excavated me a bed right here where the beaver's already approaching. It's going to let that trap sit down into the mud down lower. So when they come up here to push mud up, and check out what I've done, because I've taken a bunch of vegetation and mud and topped it off, and I'm going to take my lure, the Alpha Delta, and put it up here to tick them off. See, I've got my Bigfoot mud anchor drove in the ground. I'm bedding another no BS beaver extreme right where I excavated to make this set. I'll get that trap pushed down in there and get it lured up, get my tubing out in deep water, and keep moving. I brought a dozen sets with me. I got a feeling I probably should have brought 2 dozen. There's beaver sign everywhere. Gonna finish it off and keep moving. I was pedaling around. I just made that set over there where they're coming out of that cut, and I've come right across the creek from there, and I'm turning this into a castor mound. There's a big castor mound right there, but I have built my own right out here in the creek, out in this grass mat. Everything I've excavated, you can see this muddy hole where I've done the excavating. I'm going to bed another beaver extreme right here and lure this face of the new castor mound I just made. Should produce a catch, but we'll take a better look when I get it finished. Right there's the castor mound I just put in. That's that's going to make all these beaver curious. And there's the big castor mound that the beavers made, but it's up on dry ground and the water's falling, so I've chosen to do that. And I pulled the cable out here into deep water on a 5-foot piece of tubing and drove it in the ground. As soft as some of this mud is, I'm sure some of the catches will have the deep water anchor pulled in the morning. They'll be all tangled up in this mess, but it is soupy out here in all this vegetation. I'm gonna keep moving down and putting in sets as I find good sign. We'll see you down the creek. I found me a little dam. When I come in here tomorrow, I'm going to do something with it. I found the crossover right there coming out to the main creek, and I'm gonna hang a snare or something right here. Put one up here on the crossover. I see a lot of fresh mud and tracks. This beaver's done made him a pond out here in the woods, but it's about a, 18-inch drop from the top of the dam to the bottom of the dam. I know I could put a snare here. I could put a snare here on this crossover and make a catch, but I don't have anywhere to put a good leg hold today. No water to drown, but I can use a snare. That's probably what I'm gonna do in the next day or two. I'm gonna get back in the boat and keep moving. Come across these fresher castor mounds. There's a few here. You can just look how fresh that is. It's still wet. They have trails right here and right here, because it's a narrow spot between here and another section of the slough. And as fresh as this is, I'm going to put in a castor mound right here. I'm going to dig me out of bed right in here to make an approach, and gives me a good 3.5 feet of water out here to drive my drowning, stake out in deeper water. So I've got to set this. This is just too fresh. It's soaking wet from when the beaver just did that last night. I'm putting in some prizes for them tonight. We'll take a look at it when I get it done. Now I have taken and made an approach where I've excavated all this grass and mud, and I'm putting my lure right here and a little right here, just a little dabble do you on this stuff. It's strong. I'm putting in a TS85. I'm gonna bed it right in here and just wiggle it down into the mud, get it solid. But this is the approach that I've made for this castor mound. See, I got my my Bigfoot mud anchor already drove in and locked in, and 14 foot of cable running to a piece of EMT tubing. I'll finish this set and keep moving. But I had to set this one as fresh as it is, and I've made an approach for them to step right over my trap. I've come in here and I'm up next to the lodge. I'm trying to keep it quiet as I can, but they're pulling mud up on it, and good fresh mud being pulled up on it. I've been poking around with the boat paddle, see if I couldn't find den entrances for 330s. The thing's probably 8 foot tall. Stick lodge right next to the bank. They're home. They're pulling mud up on it. I see fresh tracks. I'm gonna pull some of these off this lodge with castor mounds, but I'm gonna move away from it just a little bit. I'm trying not to booger them up too bad. They're home. See how many of them I can get. I've got the mound, or the beaver lodge right there. I'm going about 25 yards up above it. I've got a little cut ditch coming through here. I'm putting in a caster mound right there. So the prevailing wind is going this way. It should drift that caster scent right to the beaver's nose when they come out of their lodge tonight. I've excavated an area right here to put a TS, no, it's not a TS85, it's a No BS Beaver Extreme. I'm going to put right in that hole and put some of my Alpha Delta up on that vegetation I've pulled up into a mound. Being this close to the lodge, this should make a catch. But I'll finish this set and take a better look. Putting in this next set right down from that stick lodge, and this is one of their bigger territorial mounds. I mean, every beaver in this colony seems to use these kind of mounds. I mean, heck, it's taller than the side of the canoe. So I've chosen to put my own mound in right next to it. It's like giving them the beaver finger. Where I've excavated all the goodies to put up here on this mound is where I'll bed that trap. It's going to be a TS85 on a 14-foot drowner cable. Bigfoot soft mud anchor right here dug into the bottom. It's secured. I'll get the trap bedded and pull the anchor out in deep water and keep moving. This one should work. Now these are the kind of caster mounds I love to find. You know you're gonna make a catch here. Caster mound, caster mound, caster mound, caster mound, and they're all taller than the side of the boat. You can see the boat paddle angling down into the boat. One of these days, I'm going to see a beaver get up on top of these mounds and see how they do it. I mean, this thing is huge. You can see it angling down into the boat. These mounds are way over knee high. But I'm going to excavate a bed right here. I can already tell where all the beaver are using this area, and they're using this area as an approach to put more mud on their mounds. I'm gonna put a set in right there. I have taken and excavated me out of bed right here and took that mud and debris, and right between their two mounds I made a little mound and put some of the Alpha Delta caster lure right here on top. That should get some attention. I have both nutria sign and beaver sign in this area pretty heavy, so something should catch right here. I'm going to take a No BS Beaver Extreme and shove it down in there where I've excavated that spot for a bed, squish it down into the mud, and hopefully have a catch here tomorrow. But I'm going to get the set finished and anchored and keep moving. But these mounds are amazing. Got another good looking stick lodge not too far down from the one I just left. I'm kind of convinced that the 2-year-olds in this colony have just moved down a couple hundred yards and set up their own house. But that is active. And with all the caster mounds I'm finding and the caster sets I'm putting in, some of these should get agitated enough to come check out the caster mounds. And hopefully we'll have some catches, but I'm gonna look around here. I can't get to the stick lodge for the mats of grass, and I'm just wanting to pick off the adults with the caster mounds instead of just sitting in the mouth of the dens and catching half pints. I'm gonna keep moving around. I'm just across the creek from where I just put in those other sets, and so I'm finding caster mound, caster mound, caster mound, caster mound, caster mound. This area's got a lot of fresh mud pulled up on it. Well, I've taken and excavated this area next to this log right here. Took some of that mud, put it up on top of their mound, and to give an eye appeal and a little different look, I'm gonna put my caster lure on it. And the area that I have excavated right next to this log, I'm gonna put a TS85. So squish it down into the mud real good right here on this approach. It's about 6 inches deep. They'll come up here probably to check out this castor scent, trying to destroy it, and come up here and drop them feet and be right in that trap. In theory, it'll work. Let's see what happens tomorrow. I'm going to keep making sets. I'm getting further back in here, but I am under a bridge. But the found these killer castor mounds with a lot of fresh sand. That one and this one. I have excavated me out a place to put the trap, and took that mud, made my own little mound right on the side of theirs. That should tick them off. I'll get it lured up, and I say wash, rinse, repeat. Put the cable anchor in, set the trap, bed the trap good, make sure it's lured up good, and pull it out in the deep water to the tubing anchor. But putting in a TS-85. These castor mounds got a lot of fresh sign on. I'm gonna set this and keep moving. I've got this old stick lodge location, but I've got, you know, beaver coming up here on this little mud point, making his castor mound. And I mean, this used to be a big stick lodge 2 years ago. I think I've hammered them pretty good. But I got one leaving castor mound right here on this point. I've got the cable run out in deep water, anchored off. And I'm gonna be putting a no BS Beaver Extreme right there. I'm having to reach, but I can get it in there. Put me some castor right here on this mud. Should be a catch. I mean, these are very active. A lot of fresh tracks in the mud. I'll get this one done and keep moving down. I've come across a couple of these dead nutria rats. I don't know whether the duck hunters done shot them, or that super cold snap killed a few, because they don't survive real well in this super cold temperatures like we had down at 2 degrees. They have no fat, but this nutria, I think number 2 I found this morning. But they're just dead out here in the water. I'm gonna keep moving.